What's going on, guys? It is all Fiona all the time in this video. First, we're going to talk about Fiona in the short term and how it's going to impact the Caribbean islands. The breaking details is that there is a hurricane warning now for the island of Puerto Rico. Then we're going to talk about Fiona long term and what that could mean for the lower 48 of the United States. Stick around to the end of the video for that. This is definitely not what you want to see here, a strengthening tropical system. This is the high-res visible satellite. You see where Puerto Rico is. I'm going to turn on my telestration. The purple color there represents the hurricane warning. That is in effect for the entire island, meaning that hurricane conditions are likely within the next 36 hours. There is the center. We have thunderstorms bubbling up all around it. Some of that thinner cloud cover here, that's the outflow. Again, a sign that the system is breathing and trying to intensify as it moves in this general direction. Again, close to the U.S. and British Virgin Islands later on Saturday night. And then really as we get into Puerto Rico, also late Saturday night. And then really as we go through the day on Sunday. If you stick around for a second, I'm going to take you hour by hour for the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and show you when we're expecting tropical storm conditions and eventually hurricane conditions to begin on both the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. First, though, we're looking at the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center. You see the cone. The blue there is representing the satellite. Again, certainly getting that look of a strengthening tropical system. Going to zoom in for you guys in the Caribbean. Again, eventually Fiona going to leave us alone later on Saturday, especially into Sunday morning in the Leeward Islands. But here is the timeline. Expected to be a strong tropical storm as we move into the 18th. That's Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. A 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm on the cusp of hurricane status as it closes in Fiona on the Virgin Islands and to Puerto Rico. A landfall now a possibility on Puerto Rico itself as we move into Sunday morning and then into Sunday afternoon. Here is the forecast point at 8 p.m. on September 18th. A 75-mile-per-hour Category 1 hurricane on the southwest side of Puerto Rico. This is the same area, again, that was impacted by Hurricane Maria in 2017. Now, you need to know this is not going to be anywhere close as intense as Maria was back in 2017. But nonetheless, this is still going to be moving over those same areas impacted with hurricane force winds, very heavy rainfall. Further up the cone, again, moving closer to the Dominican Republic, Fiona strengthens further, now an 80-mile-per-hour Category 1 hurricane. And then more strengthening is expected as it pulls away from the Dominican Republic, moves into the Turks and Caicos, and then drifts north. Now, as it moves away from the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, it's expected to become a Category 2 hurricane with winds of 100 miles an hour, and then strengthening further to a 105-mile-per-hour Category 2 hurricane. And it could even strengthen further as it gets close again to Bermuda. I'm going to show you the latest modeling in its long-term life, Fiona's long-term life, coming up in just a couple of minutes. I want to take you guys hour by hour now to give you the progression here on when the winds really start to increase. And specifically, we are looking for that green color. That is going to be sustained tropical storm force winds. This is now fast forwarded out till about 2 a.m. and you see that green color getting really close to the island of Puerto Rico. Certainly, we are feeling those tropical storm impacts already on both the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. So now as we get into Sunday morning, this is about 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning, we are no doubt feeling tropical storm conditions, potentially even seeing those wind speeds gust to hurricane force. That is greater than 75 miles per hour. That's something we're going to be watching in the early morning hours of Saturday. Stopping this now at about lunchtime, at about noon to 3 o'clock in that ballpark. Notice, again, most of the eastern side of Puerto Rico still dealing with tropical storm conditions. Notice, at least in this model solution, this is where Puerto Rico is. It does have Fiona making a landfall as a hurricane before exiting the island completely by Sunday evening. So in this model representation, Fiona does make a landfall late Sunday morning, early Sunday afternoon as a Category 1 hurricane, and then starts to pull away, and then conditions start to improve already by Sunday evening. So this is not a too terribly long-lived event, but again, we could see hurricane force wind gusts on the island of Puerto Rico, in addition to some extreme rainfall rates. In addition to the hurricane force winds that we could possibly see on the island of Puerto Rico, we're also going to be dealing with the intense rainfall rates. Parts of the island, you see really most of it highlighted in yellow there. We could be pushing double-digit rainfall totals in terms of inches by the time things come to an end later Sunday evening. So again, really from Saturday evening through Sunday evening, parts of Puerto Rico could pick up anywhere from 10 to 12 inches, and really the same goes for us on the Virgin Islands as well. Before we get into the post-Caribbean portion of Fiona, I just wanted to thank all of the new subscribers and welcome to all the newcomers finding this channel for the first time. We talk all things weather. It has been tropical heavy as of late because we've had some action in the tropics, and wanted to alert everybody in the Caribbean that we had Fiona coming. If you are watching from the Caribbean, again, please share this video so that your friends and family know what is coming and know that we are expecting a stronger Fiona. Hit that subscribe button, share the video, hit the alert bell, and that will alert you to any time we post new content. Looking long-term with Fiona, we are starting off with the European ensembles. If you follow the models closely, then you may remember a couple of days ago where there was one ensemble run that was very concerning for the lower 48, especially for Florida and the southeast coast. That has backed off considerably, and it was really that one lone run that painted that doom and gloom, so to speak, for the lower 48. Now, once Fiona gets beyond the Dominican Republic, it is likely to continue lifting north through parts of the Turks and Caicos as a hurricane, so certainly concerning for the Turks and Caicos, and then lifting closer toward Bermuda again. These are the ensembles. Again, it makes up, these are the individual members of the European model, so each initial condition is different. It helps us get a gauge, especially when there's a wide range of uncertainty. When you see those lines clustered together, there's higher confidence that that is how the scenario is going to play out. And you see here all these different colors. The pinker the color is a stronger storm. So we are expecting Fiona to get incredibly strong beyond the Dominican Republic as it gets out into the open waters. But a stronger Fiona also means that there is a higher likelihood that it stays away from the lower 48. So you see here, the weaker scenario, that takes it over the Dominican Republic, into Cuba, into the Bahamas. There are a few members that still paint that picture. I will tell you, that is a very unlikely scenario. The more likely scenario is long-term. As Fiona pulls away from the Dominican Republic, this is going to strengthen into the extreme southeastern Turks and Caicos, and then strengthen further as it lifts north away from the United States. But then, again, we are going to have to watch this closely in Bermuda. That speck at the top of your screen, that is Bermuda. The global models and hurricane models are painting a very similar picture to what the European ensemble mean is showing, where the consensus is there. And look at this, again, taking it over Puerto Rico, or very, very close to the southwest corner of Puerto Rico, and then over the Dominican Republic as a hurricane, over the extreme southeast corner of the Turks and Caicos, and then closer to Bermuda, which is up here toward the top of your screen. Again, keeping it away from the lower 48 of the United States. We're thinking about you guys in the Caribbean and praying for you. Again, if you know of anybody in the Caribbean, or if you live there and want to make sure that your friends and family know what's going on, please share this video. Again, we are watching this closely for you guys. The worst of the weather in Puerto Rico going to arrive late Saturday night into most of Sunday. Again, hurricane conditions are going to be likely now as we move forward into Sunday, especially on the southwest side of Puerto Rico. And then this is likely going to lift up and out. But again, we're thinking of you guys. If you can let us know what you are seeing, post it in the comments when, and you can do so safely. So again, we are watching this closely for you and thinking about you guys.